All right, we're going to be doing chapter 34, continuing with Beethoven. So Beethoven was considered a genius in his lifetime, not just after. He had continued and profound impact not only on musicians but on the public as well. During that time period where he was writing transitional music, what was most important about that time period was that he was able to balance the traditional classical conventions in his music writing with these disruptions that became such a defining characteristic of the Romantic age. And so he really is the link to the transition from classical to Romantic. And his music embodied the two. So he was very grounded in classical traditions, but had these same sensualities and sensibilities that the Romantic composers had. This would have been an example of a theater where he presented one of his concerts that included two of his symphonies. So you can see quite the crowd. He used his symphonies as the ideal medium to address his public. The first two were very much classical style, similar to Haydn and Mozart. The third one originally was dedicated to Napoleon, and then once Napoleon turned out to be not such a great man, it was said that Beethoven changed the name to Eroica, or heroic. And so there's a personal narrative story that's told within the instrumental music of heroism. And that really started to expand the possibility of what you could do with instrumental music, telling this story without actually using any words or tying it to words. So the music goes through transformation. We're going to listen to the fifth one, which has become the standard, most quoted symphony, and it is the model of the genre. And then you have probably heard his choral symphony, or at least the final part of it, which is Ode to Joy, or Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of all. That is the tune from Ode to Joy, which it brought in vocal soloists and chorus as well as the symphony or the orchestra. This is a picture of what he used to try to help his hearing. One of the things. Very, very frustrating for him to have lost his hearing as a musician. The picture on the right shows you a painting of Napoleon. So this fifth symphony is his best known symphony. It's a standard 4-movement cycle. Really fits classical parameters, but he kind of pushes the limits on it. It's very cyclical because this opening motive that you hear is going to permeate all 4 different movements of the piece. And not just in the first movement, you'll hear this conflict and struggle all the way until the end. And then at the end, you'll hear this transition to C major, which gives this idea of this victorious ending. All right. So OP stands for opus. Opus was just another word for work. So this is Symphony number 5 in C minor, opus 67, written in 1807 and 1808. The first movement is going to be in sonata allegro form, which means you're going to have that exposition, development, and then the recapitulation and the coda. The second movement is in the theme and variations movement. That's going to be that slower contrasting movement. The third movement is a dance movement in C minor. And you will hear that rocket theme. You're going to hear fortissimo, horns, and fugal passages. And then movement 4 is back to the sonata allegro form. There'll be some added instruments, piccolo, contrabassoon, and trombones. Lots of forceful dynamics for just giving some effects to the audience. And then you'll hear the different themes, the development, the coda with a long cadence. All right, so take a listen to his Symphony number 5. Thank you.